Chris Level here with another edition of Pirate Talk. Head coach Chip Darden with me. Colton Coombs behind the camera as always, talking about a 45-17 win over Lubbock Coronado last week. Big matchup in the non-district coming up this weekend, or this Friday night, I should say, in Canyon. Don't forget about it. It's in Canyon. It's not in Amarillo. It's in Canyon. Buffalo Stadium against Tascosa, a team that a program you're very, very familiar with. We'll get to that in a little bit, but you were, I think we mentioned on the show last week, validation was kind of a big word.
Yep.
After a big win and Lovejoy and long trip and all those things. Ultimately, that's exactly what you got, is you validated that first win with a big win and the second one. Weird way to get to from A to B, but
yeah, and I think that's what we talked about with validation is in validating that win is just it shows a little bit of maturity that the Lovejoy wasn't the goal of the season, just like Coronado wasn't the goal of the season. It's part of it, and I just thought they handled it. I thought they handled the week really well. Like, had the game against Coronado not gone how we wanted or how we expected, I think I still would have been proud of them how they prepared all week. They had a really good week of preparation, which typically leads to success on Friday night. But
shocker.
Yeah. But I was just, games are funny. So I was proud of how they prepared, how they came ready during the week.
Sometimes games are not funny.
It's true.
Yeah,
true.
we've both been there on the other side. Yeah,
very true.
Like, I'm having no fun whatsoever right now. This is supposed to be fun, right? Yeah. You guys ran the ball for about 300, and Jackson Austin did it. You had Florence had some runs. I thought you threw it a bit. I think Cub Patton had a big field goal that kind of maybe shifted the momentum, headed in the locker room a little bit. But just kind of take me through offensively before we get to the defensively.
Yeah, I thought in the first half we had some individuals that stuck out. Like, I don't know as a whole that we were just blocking and getting wide open on Pat. And I know you asked me about the run game, but it was like we just had some individuals that were making really good plays. Is what it felt like. And in the second half, I felt like we as a team, whether that's line blocking, receivers running routes, getting open, I just thought all that was better. We were, maybe executed at a high level would be the way to go. But we did. Jackson Austin played great. He's a warrior, and nice to see him catch the ball and out of the backfield. I think that's a dimension that is really good about his game. And then R.J. Florence got in the end zone. Cash Truby was our hog of the week, plays tight end. Thought he blocked really well. I think we've been challenging him, and I think he did a really good job of stepping up to that challenge and being more physical, and I really thought he was this game. But in general, just that second half was a half that we on offense just felt a lot better about how the whole team performed.
That's always been something that's been a staple in your program, because you mentioned Cash, but the offensive line gets a lot of credit. You've had a lot of players that are now playing in college that have played on the offensive line, but you've always been so. You often have told me that one tight end spot is sometimes one of our most valuable players because we ask them to do so much.
Yep.
Sam Marcinkowski a couple years ago, and you've had really good ones there. But take me through that group, because it's what you've got at Cash Truby, you got Easton Barnhill,
yep.
Patrick Garcia.
Yeah, Pat hadn't played it. He works a little bit. Spencer Hoagland's been working.
But they're hybrids. It's almost like a defensive end, but offense. It's like okay.
We made a commitment. I think this was even before I was the head coach. When Coach Cat was the head coach, and I don't remember what year it was, but we didn't really have tight ends. We had 4 receivers, and there were just some teams we felt like a tight end mattered. Defenses, football evolves, so defenses have gone to this 3 high and playing everybody in space, and sometimes we think the answer to that is to get big and make those guys that are out spaced now play in the box. And so when we were we always called it manufacture tight ends. We were having to do things to kind of manufacture one. We made a point of emphasis at our middle schools to, hey, all right, one of your best athletes probably going to be a quarterback as you start identifying, but we need one of those top athletes that's kind of bigger to be a tight end. So we started developing them at the middle school level. Our middle school coaches have done a great job of utilizing tight ends, and I think we've seen the benefit of that the last few years on getting those guys developed. So it's a big part of what we do. I don't think there's a secret about that. A few years ago, it was kind of a secret, and I felt like we were a little new to it. Like the Alito in 2019 was one of the first games that we really got, 22 personnel, two back, two tight end, and ran it right at them. And I think that kind of started to change our philosophy a little bit. And you see some teams doing it now. I mean, I think there's more that are doing it. And I don't think we were the innovators on that, but we just feel the need. Our tight ends are important, basically.
Football has evolved. Mm-hmm. It's changed, and the tight end is now popular.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, because in college and all that, I mean, it's because defense has changed. So offenses have now changed back. I just think when you see that running for 300 yards, the tight ends deserve a lot of the credit,
absolutely,
just like the offensive line does. And you have a very good offensive line that young and trying to figure out some pieces and all those things. It's fun to come out of the locker room though and kind of put the game away with a 21-point third quarter. I mean, because that really that's a kill shot. I mean, that's when you just like, okay, we leave no doubt here.
Yeah. There's a crazy sequence there, but the key, and this was to me where we matured in the second half and where we were playing a little bit better. They hit us with a big play a couple times in the game. Well, early in the first half, they're hitting us a couple big plays, and then they're scoring later in the drive. Hit us with a big play the first play of the second half, a little trick play, reverse pass that they completed. Again, looking at the first half, we might have let them score, but instead we get a big turnover. Kyle Warlick with a PBU that bats it up and little tip drill Cole Stanzioni and takes it down our sideline. It flipped the game. And then so we score, capitalize there, and then we get a pick. I think it was 2 plays later. Malik Epps Keller, and great return by him as well. And anyway, just thought that those 2 plays were key in that little sequence. There was about I think a minute and a half of game time that we scored 14 points, and now you're obviously feeling good about it. So yeah, the third quarter was key, and I think Taylor asked me after the game about adjustments and this and that, and they're just adjustments are happening as the game's going on, but at halftime there just weren't a whole lot. It was fundamentals, and we weren't doing the fundamentals well, and we did in the second half. Sometimes football can be pretty simple.
Yeah, sometimes it isn't, but and sometimes it's just about effort.
Yeah,
doing your job the way you're supposed to. Cole Stanzioni, you mentioned that he had an interception. He had 6.5 tackles. Carter Gentry with 8 tackles. I think did we have another Sione Vea sack?
Yeah, and really, I think some of those stats. I think Cole had. I think he had like 13 tackles. I don't know that one is accurate. So he had a lot. He had a big game.
I've.
Yep.
So this is maybe in the first half.
That might be correct.
Yeah, first half stats. I cheated him 6.5 tackles.
I know.
And so does that mean that Carter Gentry had 16 tackles? There's
no, I don't think he had 16 , but Carter had a good game too.
Okay, yes.
Yeah,
okay.
Carter did have a good game.
My apologies, Cole. I would not want to take any of your tackles away from you. But again, you made some plays because we talked about Alan Gant. He's one of the fastest kids in the city.
Yep.
Period. DeMarion Finch is going to be one of the better running backs that you see all season. He's got some size to him, and he grinded out. I think had like about 90 yards, and anyway. But and you'll see more of that this weekend.
Oh yeah,
or this Friday night as well. Okay, so 45-17 win. You beat an in-state rival. Now, as you look at an in-town rival. And now as you look at a former district rival, I guess, of sorts, that you're not in the district with anymore, there's no secrets here. There's a lot of familiarity with Amarillo Tascosa. Take me through this matchup.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a fun game. It is not quite to the level that our Wichita Falls Rider rivalry, RIP in peace, Wichita Falls Rider. It's no more.
Rojo.
But it's not quite to that level, but it feels like the early stages of it a little bit, where it's not an in-town rivalry, but there's also a lot at stake. There's like you said, we're familiar with them, know a lot of their kids, and I don't know. It just kind of has that feel to it, like it's a bigger game than you would just have with an Amarillo school in general. So I think it's fun. I think our kids are excited to play them. and I wouldn't say contrasting styles. I think we both want to run the football and play good defense, but the way they run the football is a little bit different than us, and the way they do offense. And so they run the flex bone. That is, they are absolutely okay with 4 yards in a cloud of dust. And I think I've mentioned it before, but what they end up doing is, they get you to do your job. You do your job 20 plays in a row, and you're battling with them, and then on play 21. Somebody decides I'm not going to do my job, and then it's touchdown, big play. So they make you play disciplined football. If you don't, it's going to be a long night. And I think patience is a key for us. One, on defense, just making sure that we are doing our job every play. And I may be a secondary guy that goes a whole lot of plays that doesn't get any action, but when it happens, it's going to be important. So staying patient there, and then I think offensively staying patient. They're not in any hurry. They're going to take all of the play clock. So you could sit over there for 6 game minutes that ends up being 30 minutes of real time, and you've got to have the patience to be able to do that and go out and execute when you come on the field.
Discipline.
Yep. Absolutely.
And then when you are sitting over there and you're waiting, you don't want to put your foot on the gas immediately out there and be like, okay, well, I got to get it all back right now. And that's hard because limited possession.
Yeah.
And these games are tricky. You start looking at it, doing the math. It's like, okay, we may get the ball 6 times, 7 times, 8 times, 9 times, not real sure. And if one of those times you get it, you do nothing with it. Okay. Yep. That's one less time.
That's huge.
Now,
yep.
That's just kind of
how. That's 2 years ago when they came over, it was district championship. We had I think a 25 game district winning streak at that time, and they came to our field, and it was 7-7, I believe, or no, we were up 14-7 right before half, and we had a game plan that was kind of similar. We were going to shorten the game too, and we were up 14-7, and they go on that very long. It was like a 7-minute drive, and score on the last play of the half, or right there, right around the last play. Then they receive the kick, go on a long drive, and score. So they're up 21-14,
and
the offense gets out. I don't know if we went 3 and out or got a first down, but then they score again. It's 28-14. So now our last 2 possessions on offense that game, we're kind of playing a different game than we wanted to. And so, I think the same thing goes for them. You get a 14, 21-point lead. They have to change a little bit of how they want to play, and you can't play it that way. And so it's huge. I think every team in the country at every level of football wants to start fast, but it obviously matters in this game.
How did this game end up being played on the campus of West Texas A&M there in Canyon Buffalo Stadium? Take me through that dynamic.
Yeah, I think I'm about 99% sure they have the fair going on in Amarillo, and so the fair.
We'll be getting into some fair talk here pretty soon on this show. Yeah, it's our favorite.
I'll send somebody else for those episodes. Yeah, I think, and so Dick Bivens Stadium, which is their home field, I think is on the fairgrounds.
It is, yeah.
So each year, last 2 years, they've played Amarillo High this week, and so they've that affected them. They've been playing at WT. So
does the fair do something with the stadium?
I just think they share a parking lot.
They do. It's right there.
Yeah, I just think all those logistics probably are tough.
That's a cool situation, though, for your team, because this is going to feel like playing at Abilene Christian, like a playoff game.
Yep.
Which you've played, at Abilene Christian several times or whatever it may be. So this is kind of a fun change-up, if you will, that maybe benefits the road team as much as anything.
Yeah, I think it's awesome for our kids. It's experience. I think we got some kids that can play at WT. I actually texted their head coach some of our kids' highlights the other day, and I think we got guys that might be playing there. So awesome experience for them.
And you do have guys playing there right now.
We do.
That hopefully you'll get to take in the action. So when I hear you say flex bone in layman's terms, explain to the viewer what that is exactly. It's kind of an inverted wishbone, but I want you to kind of explain what the flex bone is.
Yeah, so they're going to be under center every snap. So that's always funny this day and age. It's more rare.
Shotgun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the way I would explain it is if you've watched, and I know Army, I know that they're evolving a little bit, but there was a time those service academies, Army, Navy, Air Force, all ran some version of the flex bone. But yeah, you're going to have slots that are off the ball, usually 2 wide outs. They're not crazy with formations, a couple of adjustments. Those guys will go in motion, and they just run a lot of triple option off of it. And then they just run a lot of things that look like triple option, but they aren't. They're designed to do certain things. But I'll tell you what, I'm always so impressed with that offense. One, they've seen everything. Every adjustment that everybody gives them, they've seen at some point. They've studied, and they always have an answer. So that we've talked several times about that game 2 years ago. Thought we had a really good game plan that was different. First 2 drives, we really got after them. I don't even remember if they got a first down. And then they made their adjustment, and there's just always an answer to it. And so that makes it difficult, but I think that's also the chess match that's kind of fun, is us figuring out their adjustment and now stopping the adjustment. And
because you almost get to dictate who you don't want to have a big game and who may have a big game. And like I think 2 years ago, you were like, we're not letting the running back or the slot get it. We're going to make the quarterback beat us, and he was pretty good that night.
Yep, and that's exactly right. Those slots that year we thought were really good.
Wingbacks or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah,
and we did not want them to handle the ball, so we took them away, and then the quarterback beat us about 5 yards at a time.
And they're saying we should have people in these spots, then either one of them should have a big night if depending on what you decide to take away. Number 13, Colton Fulton is who you're talking about. He played against you guys last year. They've got a couple of running backs, Darian Howard and Zach Fisher, that both have pretty good numbers. 26 and number 5 in your program. And maybe one of and I hate it that he's an opponent, but I'm just going to say it, but one of the coolest names I've ever heard for a defensive player that's supposedly really good. He's got a whole bunch of tackles already. They have a defensive tackle. You've seen this name?
I haven't noticed it. I don't guess.
Number 71. His name is Crush Johnson.
I remember.
With a K.
Yeah.
And he's their best player on defense. Yeah,
Crush is their best player. He's good. I thought he was their best player last year too.
I mean, yeah, like if you name your child that and he's not like a really good football player or whatever, you're like, oh, this is kind of tricky. But when they turn out to be a pretty good football player, it's like this name
there it is.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, so that is 7 o'clock. You can hear that game on 100.7 The Score. We've provided the stream information a variety of different ways on social media, so just pay attention to one of the Twitter channels, Pirate Athletics, LCISD Athletics, the Sports U should be on all those kinds of things. So make sure that we've got dual streams going and dual radio broadcasts going, so there's plenty of information out there. Now we're going to play 3 Things with Chip Darden.
Man,
First of all,
somebody told me the other day that you'd been playing these games with Joe, and how come you're not doing it? And I was like, I don't know, but I'm not asking.
I haven't played. I've done the same things, but I'm going to do it with Joe too. Timely. And all kidding aside, we lost a phenomenal actor, voice, and all that. James Earl Jones this week. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Better movie. Okay, because he was phenomenal in a lot of movies. But I'm going to give you 2. Actually, I'm going to give you 2 baseball movies, and I guarantee you've seen them both.
Do you?
I want to know which one's better. The Sandlot.
Okay.
Field of Dreams. Which one's better?
Sandlot.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I know you can't. I can't.
Sandlot's tough to beat.
You could have given me any answer, and I would have been like, sure, because both of those movies
Sandlot's tough to beat.
Both of those movies are iconic, though.
Yep.
And he was money in both, and a variety of other things. Okay.
So that's it. 3 things.
No, 3 things. 3 things that frustrate you. 3 things that frustrate you.
Okay.
Yep.
Are number 1. What would the word? I guess tardiness.
Oh yeah, punctuality. Yeah.
Punctuality probably would have been better.
I completely agree. Whether it's me or somebody else.
Yeah.
That frustrates me. Yeah, be on time.
That's number 1. I think complaining frustrate. I guess I'm more. And I do it. I try not to because it does.
You don't like whiners.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all. And then, waiting in line. Any line, I just can't do.
So impatience.
I'm impatient.
I get it. Okay, we're pretty closely aligned there. Okay. Yeah. So, can you tell your the young people in your house? Do they follow Dad? Can you start to see? Oh, yeah, they're going to be like me. They're impatient.
My oldest
late,
my oldest is he wants to know the plan. Like we can't tell him, hey, next week we're going to do something, because now we're going to get a million questions about what time are we. Yep.
And I respect that.
Yeah. Now the timeliness, I got to get my wife on board with the tardiness. But
He meant that the nicest way possible.
Work in
Stacey.
progress.
Yeah, he meant that the nicest way
Work in
possible.
progress there.
Yeah, I like to plan. When the plan gets thrown off, it's like I'm a mental. I
Yep.
mean, I fall apart.
Yeah.
I have no mental toughness. I'm just saying. Yeah, but I mean,
when people talk about superstition, like I think on game day when we've got this plan that's exact, and then it's not going right, and people can see me freaking out a little bit. It's not really superstition, but it's just we've got a plan. We're supposed to eat at 4:00, so we're going to eat at 4:00, and that's anyway all part of it.
and when something gets
when it's off,
and you've got to be willing to operate in the gray area a little bit with the plan and be flexible and all that. But no, I totally get it. 3 foods that you will not eat
I thought we already did the 3 things.
No, I know. We got another one. 3 foods that you just won't. I won't be a part of it. I won't touch it. Like it's disgusting. And these got to be somewhat semi-normal, but just like.
Man, I'll eat about anything. I'm not a big fan of spinach.
Most are gonna whether it's be fresh or in the can, like Popeye.
Yep.
I mean that's
Now I like popcorn, but corn itself I will not eat.
like no corn on the cob.
No,
Cream corn.
no, none of it.
Some of that's really good. Oh man.
And then a third one, maybe like a strange meat. Like I'm not gonna eat.
I need more specifics.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I have had lamb, I guess, but I don't know. There's some exotic stuff like that I'm out on.
You're talking to someone. I've had giraffe.
I'm not doing that.
I've had zebra. I know when I was a kid.
Zebra, I mean, that's like eating a horse.
I agree,
I'm
but
out,
I mean,
I'm out on that.
It was
I love deer.
It all tasted like chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just and as far as popcorn goes,
it's the best snack there is.
Is it me or does it just taste so much better at the movie theater?
Yeah, it's pretty good at the movies.
Have you ever? Do you do the powder on it?
I do. I'll tell you what I'm doing these days is, and this is great because the kids and the wife, they don't share with you when you do this, but I pop popcorn at my house and there's that Slap Your Mama seasoning, and it is so spicy. And it is. Oh yeah, it's so spicy, and man, it's good though. Try that on.
Do you ever take? Do you ever do the butter on in the theater?
Oh,
yeah, like have you ever taken the straw?
That's the next level.
Hey,
that's good.
Yeah,
no pun intended.
You take the straw. Okay, when you're there, and then you squirt the butter down in the straw, and then it because otherwise it's just like the top.
Honestly, this show we should just talk about food. I feel like food is probably our forte. I don't know a lot about football.
Life
but food,
hacks, life hacks. So we don't like spinach. We love popcorn, especially when we get the butter on the bottom. And
it's weird that I can't lose weight. I don't know what's going
on. And we love the movie The Sandlot. Go Pirates, the end. Okay, anyway, that'll do it for this week. Appreciate it, Coach. Should be fun. We'll talk. Do you have something else?
Yeah, streaming will be, we posted it, but it's not on our
correct.
YouTube.
Yes,
it's on
go find one of the social media
Tascosa
channels.
has them.
Yes, Tascosa will be providing that, but you can hear our radio broadcast on 100.7 The Score as always, and you can download an app. So even if you're not in your car, you can download an app, sit there at home, whatever you want to do, and listen to that wherever you are on your mobile device or computer or whatever it may be. So I want to make sure we offer that up. So, man, that's going to do it for this one. For Colton Coons, for Chip Darden, I'm Chris Level. This has been another edition of Pirate Talk.